Okay, so I am super excited because I fell in love with Google Docs very recently. I was doing some research trying to make myself more efficient. I'd been tracking my time, and I highly recommend you do that because we discovered that we were sort of repeating a lot of things that we didn't need to, and we weren't being super efficient, and we didn't have some systems in place. And I've been using Google Forms for years. Highly, highly recommend it. Hated Google Sheets because until very recently, I think in the last year, you couldn't right click and mouse in a Google Sheet. Everything was a control C to cut and all of that nonsense. And I'm a mouse person. So the idea of using Google Docs made me crazy. So it wasn't, Google Suite, right? When I say Google Docs, I kind of mean all of them, not just their documents. So when I came back into Google recently and saw that I could right click and do all of the things that I could do in Windows, I was like, oh, I don't hate you anymore. Let me investigate. So what I did learn is that Google doesn't think like Microsoft people. The calendar is a huge example of that. I couldn't figure out how to organize my calendar until I did a bit of research. So I'm going to show, this is going to be like a really brief snapshot overview to get you started. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the Gmail. Now all of this started because I was kind of forced into it. I changed my website and I changed my provider, and I wanted to keep my email, and I didn't want a generic email. I wanted my own personal email. So Gmail is one. If you get a G Suite account, which is the upgrade Gmail account that comes with double the storage, you can have a personalized email. So Dana Nicholson just got one. She doesn't have to have a website. She can have her personalized email that looks way more professional just from having G Suite. So I learned, though, not to use Gmail with your mail app or to use it with your Outlook on your computer. It is much better to just use Gmail on its own. So I hated Gmail. My password was actually had a swear word in it because I hated Gmail so much. I spent days on the phone crying. I almost threw my computer out the window just because I was trying to make it work in apps when it just works so much better by itself. Okay, so that would be my first tip, is just use Gmail on its own. Back in the day, Gmail didn't have like all the different fonts and stuff, and it does now. So it's got everything you need in it, so there's no need to use an additional app, and it's much smoother. So one of the things that I found when I was using Outlook and my mail app with all the different emails that I've had, they didn't really sync. Like, they kind of sunk, but they didn't really sync together very well. And my computer is a little bit slow right now, so if it's slow, my apologies. And hopefully you'll be able to see everything better because it takes longer. So that's about the best I can do, unfortunately. I'm taking it in to leave it when I'm going down to Vegas. So with the Gmail, there's a few things that I really love about it. And I love that I can organize. So I can sort of organize my folders. I just started in my Gmail not long ago, so I'm just building my folders, but I can have sort of my inset levels just like I can with any other mail program, so I can keep all my stuff organized. So basically, going into your Gmail is kind of where I access everything else. So the biggest things I love about Gmail is if I started an email on my phone or start an email on my computer, it's instantly synced and I can go finish it somewhere else. So that doesn't usually happen with your mail app and like Outlook or whatever. If you start an email on your phone, you have to finish it on your phone. So that's one of the things that I really like about Gmail, and that everything is 100% back and forth. The other thing that if you have a G Suite account that Gmail does is it can auto add your appointments to your calendar, which is very cool if you like that feature. So one of the things that I really like is the calendar. Go ahead, Stacy.
I just thought of this. Did you hit record?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, good. I always forget. So
I do forget all the time. Thank you for that. Okay, so the thing that I really like is the calendar. I was shocked what kind of things the calendar can do. Now, my calendar, being a G Suite calendar, does have extra features. One of them being the auto book. Okay. So this is my calendar. So when I first set up my calendar, I didn't really set it up the most effective way. What I learned is that, so I'll add something to my calendar and show you. Let me just make that go full screen. There we go. If I want to add something to my calendar, I can create an appointment. I can use the create button, or of course I can just click anywhere on the calendar to create. And then I can assign colors. So I was doing it like if I just decide that I want to have an appointment right here, I'm just going to click and block the time, and then I can just quick add something to my calendar. And of course, because my computer's lagging a bit, it's going to take a second to show up. You guys see that that purple stripe on my screen? Or is that just me? That's weird.
No, it just came on.
Okay. So yeah, this is, oh, it's my computer freezing. Don't do this, computer. I have been struggling for the last week. It keeps running with 100% disk space, and I have done everything that I could think to do, and I cannot make it stop. So that's one way to add. But look, the main thing to look at on this calendar is on the side. So when you set up a Google Calendar, you set up lots of calendars. The benefit of that is you can share individual calendars with individual people. I'm like completely frozen here. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to leave that stupid thing there. But what I can show you over here is my calendars. So I have each calendar with its own color and its own style, basically. So what that means is if I've got somebody helping out with my family and I'm traveling, I can share that calendar. So I'm just going to hit the buttons. And I can share that calendar in my settings and sharing, and I can share it to whoever I want. I can share it to somebody taking care of my kids, anything like that. So right here, the sharing in Google is so easy. That's the biggest thing about Google is the shareability. So here I can share this calendar with somebody. I can just add somebody to my calendar, and I can give them the option to do things to my calendar or just to look at my calendar, right? So there's both options. So if they're in my contacts, right, I could just start typing their name and it's automatically going to come up super easy because, of course, they're integrated. When you use other calendar systems that aren't integrated with your email, you have to go and find that person's email because who knows somebody's email? I don't know people's emails. I have to go look them up. So it saves me those steps. And then I could choose to let people changes. Hang on, I've just got some really big noises in the background. I could choose to let people edit my calendar. I can choose to let them see my calendar. So of course I share my calendars with my assistant and she can book my stuff. So that's what I really like about the calendar, particularly the Team Connections calendar that I made, because this is one of the benefits of the G Suite is that I can set appointment times. So my team can book their own appointments in my calendar. And I just started it like a few days ago and they're already doing it, which is awesome. Now, the way to get them to do that is your calendar has to be public. So that's why my team time is on its own calendar. So the public, if they get the link, can only see my team calendar. Does that make sense? The sharing parts make sense so far? Okay. The other things I can do is I can set specific reminders. So for the team connections, which is the time that my team is booking appointments for me, every appointment comes up, I can set my 2 reminders, or I can make as many reminders as I want. So I have a reminder at 5 minutes and a reminder at 12 minutes, and that automatically applies to everything on my calendar. So I don't have to set reminders for all the individual things on my calendar. My calendar does it for me. I can set additional ones if I want as well, and though I don't really have to. And there are dozens of colors. So if you're a color person like me or a visual, I really like that I can have my calendar colors lined up and speak to me in a way that makes sense for me. And at a glance, I know what's what. So that's what I've done, right? So anything that's green in my calendar makes me money. So that's the way I've set up my calendar is if I know it's green, I'm getting income, working my business. So that's how the calendars work. So I just want to show you if I wanted to make another set, like I just want to turn this, I'm going to turn this little appointment that I made here into a team time to book. You can see all these green ones are where my team's booking, and this is when they book. It just shows their names and it pops up on my calendar. So I'm going to add a title to this one. Well, I don't want to add team time right now because they'll see it actually, and I don't want somebody to automatically come along and book. But then here I would change my calendar. So I would choose that I'm going to add, let's say I'm going to add team connections. I'll do it shortly and then just delete it. I could add whatever I wanted it to be. And then there's a spot. Hang on, I got too much stuff on my screen here. That blue line, that purple line has stayed, which is so weird. Maybe it's a back a step, more actions. That's where I can change. This is where you can copy. And if you can totally copy a calendar, if you need to, you can choose for a time for your calendar. I could add conferencing. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what a lot of these things are. So like I'm telling you, you don't need to know everything, and it can already be a major time savings. So I want to delete this. So this feature, to be really clear, is only the automatic booking thing is only available on a G Suite calendar. Okay, so that you not Gmail calendar, G Suite. So G Suite is the upgrade. So what I've done is I've made my Team Connections calendar public. I've posted it right on my team page, right in the first unit, and people just click a book. Okay, so I've made them half-hour segments. I've explained to them, right, if you just want to touch base, don't worry, you don't have to talk to me for half an hour. So that's what the calendars look like, and it's really easy to share them. So that's the thing that I totally love. I'm going to be adding all of like Gail's or leader stuff to my calendar, and then what I can do is if anybody else is using a Gmail calendar, let me know, because I'm going to take everything off of home office's list and add it to one calendar, and then we can all just add that calendar to our calendars, if that makes sense. So what that saves is what, 240 of us writing down all of those individual appointments in our calendars, because to me that's just a waste of time for 240 people to type the same thing. So more of these time-saving things, or if somebody else really wants to take on writing down the Gmail calendar, you'd be welcome to do that. Yeah, the home office calendar, like I would love if home office just did a calendar like that, and though sometime maybe that could happen. And then we could just link their calendar into ours. Apparently that's how it used to be, Krista said. So that's the calendar. Any questions about calendar? It's pretty basic, and though you don't have to have a second scheduling app, G Suite does have a fee. I don't remember what it was. Not a terribly big amount because I'm cheap. And if it was a really large amount, I wouldn't have done it. I've canceled 3 other apps that I was using for tracking things since I got my G Suite, so I've actually saved myself some money. So anywhere you want to go in your G Suite, it's this thing, okay? Just like most websites, this little guy. One of the things that will not show in your regular Gmail and you won't even know is a possible app is Keep. So there are tons of Google apps that do not show in that app list. But once you access them the first time, then they'll show up. So Google Keep is sort of like a tick list note taker organizational thing. If you like sticky notes, it's the equivalent of sticky notes for your computer. So it's super visual, which is what I like. So I have pinned notes. So these are the notes that I see when I first log in. I can, of course, change any colors, and I can share notes. So this note is shared with my assistant. So whenever she gives me a task or something that she's a slide that she's made or something that I have to do, it shows up on this note. So she can add things to it for me. And then I have all sorts of different notes. I've got my personal notes. I've got things like this. So here's an example of a note with a reminder. So you can add a timing to a note so that it pops up and sends you a notification. I can archive a note. So what I've done is things that I repeat over and over and over, like monthly, I would write a note for whatever that is. Let's say pull commission statement. And I could write that on a note, and then I could set a timing on it so it popped up on the 2nd of every month, and then I could hit archive, and it disappears from my screen until I need to see it. If I want to search for it, I can find it, but it's not sitting there clogging my brain until I need it. Does that make sense? Who uses, like, what are you guys using now for note-taking apps or like trackers or to-do lists? Anybody using anything? Shit falls out of my head. So I have to use lists. When I don't put it on stuff, it's gone.
Dana,
Hey,
I use Microsoft OneNote, and it saves everything right from my computer, my phone. I can set up different pages, and I've been setting up notes on that, and also have set it up so that I have, when I have new consultant training that I'm doing and stuff, I have each new consultant on their own note, and I can go back in and you can do searches from there and stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it would probably be the Google equivalent of OneNote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's, whatever system you have, I think having some sort of tick list note tracker keeper is so important. One of the other things I like about this one is I can schedule reminders based on location. So if I need to drop something off, like at some point I'm going to pick up labels at Staples. I might forget about that, but I could add that to my note, and next time I drive past that location, my phone will alert me that I need to stop there. So that's sort of fun for people who forget shit all the time. So that can be kind of fun. Pauline,
It will pop you up a reminder because you're by Staples, and it will pop you up a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, location reminders, man. I mean, if you got location services on your phone, it'll do that for you.
Do you know if it links with Google Home and Google Home Mini?
I think it does, because I think Google Assistant is on my phone is kind of the same thing as a Google Home, right? So I can just like push the button on my phone and tell it to send an email or send a text or whatever.
Right.
So I think it's similar. I haven't tried yet, though. I only just got Google Assistant like 3 days ago and started playing with it. So, okay, so that's basically, you can make all sorts of different things. They don't have to be tick lists, but there's different kinds of notes. So that's what Keep looks like with all, of course, the different colors, so you can make things pretty. So I wanted to show you that because I know you won't see it listing in your app store. So the biggest thing for me, though, is docs. And Sandy, I think Sandy's still here. We're going to go and open a doc. So a doc is just like your Word doc, right? Same diff. I will start a new doc. I will show you how easy I will share it with Sandy, and then Sandy will jump in and show you the magic of the docs. So let me just bring over my keyboard.
So Dana, using a doc, is that like instead of using Microsoft Word?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. And I find it more intuitive. Like if I want to do things, I find it easier to do them and to find them than I find in Word. So I'm going to hit the plus to make a new document. I could now choose, if I wanted to bring something over from my Dropbox or from my computer, I would just go to, it's still loading. Okay, so I'm gonna, let's say season launch, we're just gonna call this test doc. So if you're planning season launch, I'll call it test launch. Okay, so I have now made my document. I don't have to worry if my computer closes right now because it auto saves, and it does it in Excel, which in their, well, Sheets. Excel doesn't auto save, which is always a challenge for me. So this right now, I'm hovering over the share and it's showing that I'm the only one in the document. So I can see that in a heartbeat that I'm the only one here. So now I'm going to share it. So I'm going to share it to Sandy. This is my drop down. I'm going to let Sandy edit. Now, if I had a document that I just wanted some feedback on, I could let people comment but not change my document, or I can let people view. Okay, so I'm going to send this to Sandy. That's Sandy. Sandy's going to come up under Fred. Okay, I'm going to send that to Sandy. I'll send that to her. She will get an alert or whatever. Send an invitation. I'm going to send a link because she doesn't have a Google account. She doesn't have to sign in. Okay, so let's say we're making a list of things that people are doing for product launch. Item 1. And normally it would be like, okay, well, you know, somebody would, you're planning your product launch with a group, somebody would be making a giant list and saying what people are going to do. Jen will do X, Y, Z. Lisa will blah, blah, blah. So I built a template for my product launch with all of the things that we do. And now individual people can come in. So Sandy, in a minute, will come on into my document, and she can type in my document with me, and she can edit the document together with me. So I think that's anonymous Loris would be Sandy. She's here, so I can see who's in my document with me.
Yes.
And then she can go ahead and type. So when we were planning product launch, we were like typing in the things, well, I'm going to bring this and I've got that and I'm going to do this. And we were highlighting and everything changes at the same time. Like, it's just crazy to think
and Dana,
that.
You have me as view only on the document actually that you sent me.
Oh, do I? Okay, yeah. Hang on. So Sandy's Loris's can view me. Hang on. So, I have to change that. So you have to go in, anyone at Dana's K's Epicure, don't use that, or whatever your Gmail is called. That means people that are in your organization. So that's if you're a big company and you got 50 people in your organization, that would be this one. I need to go to the more, and I need to give her, anyone can edit. Now you should be able to edit, Sandy. Anything with edit? I don't think I have to send it to you again. Give it a try. I don't know if I have to.
Well, let me just, I'm going to go back in and open it again.
I'll also send it to you again too. Okay, so I'm, as I've said, I'm still new. So Sandy's already got this. I don't need to add more people. Oh, with this silly Zoom screen on the bottom, don't mind me. I have to keep moving the Zoom people around because I can't see my actual documents. How do I move you guys? Oh, there we go. Can't find the send button. Okay, now you're moved. All right, okay, so Anonymous Badger, she's a Badger, not a Loris anymore. So Sandy is now canceled. Get out of here. Sandy is, oh gosh, trying to close all these things. Done. So Sandy can type there. Sandy's typed in the document. She comes up in a different color cursor, so I can see that it's her. She can specify her name if she wants. So this is where the real magic of Google Docs comes in, is being able to share things and have everybody add their own input and say, I'm going to bring and I'm going to do, and one person doesn't have to do all that work. So I know people have said that they use Google Docs, but I've never seen people I know that have never used the technology with me. So I'm like, please, let's do this technology rather than the slow, painful type. So right now we're doing a silent auction for my kids' dry brat. Every person involved in the planning committee is collecting items, and we're all just typing them onto the master list.
And you don't have to send it back and forth.
No emails back and forth ever. So I know a kid who actually got his phone taken away, and I was telling my mom about Google Docs, and she was telling me about how he surpassed her rules by going online and Google Docking with a friend, and they just type back and forth in the document. Right? No phone required. So if you have a kid who really wants a cell phone, just tell them to set up a Google Doc. And then you can share the doc, and then you can see what they're talking about. So that's the other part of that. So of course, and I can let 19 people view this doc if I want, and only one edit, right? So that's the other benefits. Everybody can have different permissions on your document. So if I gave people comment only permissions, they'd be able to go and make a comment, and it would show what they said, and it would show in their color, and I'd know who said it. And though I wouldn't have to, it wouldn't busy my document. Okay, so that's the docs, and that's the benefit.
What if you had a document in Microsoft Word that you're using?
Mm-hmm.
So it's already created over there. Can you somehow move that document into this program? So
yeah, download as, or upload as, or this one download as would be to send it to Microsoft. New, I could upload, or I could open. So I've dragged over whole things from my documents already.
And because I have a Mac, so it'll just drag in.
Well, I don't know anything about Mac. But
Okay.
I think you can move over folders. I'm not sure. If I show you my, oh my gosh, I really just need all of I love your faces, but I need them to go away because I can't see. Okay, so if I go to my Explorer here, maybe, it's really interesting that my computer freezes more when I'm doing things in my computer than when I'm doing things online. But I can see my drive here. So I've got a Google Drive on my computer, so I can see my things. I don't know if just dropping them on there works or if I have to import them. I haven't tried either way, but I have imported folders. So this is how I can work. Got it set up so I can work on my things offline if I want, because I don't want to have to be always online, right? I have the options. So let's go over and open my new consultant sheet. So I'm tracking my new consultants. I was using a tracking system called Trello, and I had an individual card for each new consultant. And I found that we were missing, we thought this consultant had all the steps done, and we were jumping back and forth, and I didn't really find it as efficient as I would have liked. So I made myself a tracking doc. I have shared it in the leaders page. So the other thing I really like about Google is everything that I've opened is there. This is not my preferred view. This is a list view. I could have it in all sorts of different views. And then if I have it in grid view, it shows me, I think it's grid view, it shows me a preview of the document as well, rather than just a name, because then it's like, oh, yeah, that thing. So I'm going to go into my career launch. And the one thing about Google is there's dozens of add-on apps as well. So this is what I've made for Career Launch. It's going to take a second while it loads because I have horrendous internet speed and I'm using my internet to talk to you guys. So my internet is, you know, slightly above dial-up a lot of times out here in the woods. So basically, this is what I have done. I've hidden my actual real consultants' data down below, so I'm not giving anything away because this is going to be shared. So I'm basically, you know, whether they want to use text or Messenger or Explorer or a phone call. So this is what I've done for what is their preferred contact method. Whether I'm an ABC, like Ashley that I just talked to today, she's like, I'm going to be friends and family only. I want no training. Don't even talk to me. Okay, well, you're clearly a C, right? If she wants to talk to me later, I could change that, but then I know who to prioritize my time on. I've got a question on here. Awesome. Thanks, Cheryl. Got to go to sports. So this tracks sort of all of my things. I'm going to move you guys again. Oh, I grab that. There we go. Okay. So it tracks all of the new consultants at once, and it just has, you know, the basic stuff that I do. Have I sent them their welcome email? Have I put a note in their file? It's just basic. You adjust it to your own style. Excuse me, but I love these little tick boxes. So instead of having to go and find your keyboard and place an X or whatever in the box to say that it's done, you hit the tick box. It's just a feature that they have. It's a new feature added to Google Docs is tick boxes. So you just make these into tick boxes. And I think all I did was insert, I think that's how I did it. We're down here, insert a note, insert. I'll have to go find it again. Or maybe you edit tick boxes. It was really easy when I found it. Oh yeah, there they are, checkbox. Okay, so that's the doc, but here's the magic of this, is the linking. I mean, you can link in anything, except Google Docs is the easiest to link to in the world that I found. So I wanna link, so I don't wanna just see the overview of my consultant. I wanna like go to her file. I wanna check my new consultant tracker. My assistant is updating this for me. It's taking her, she figures about 3 minutes a day now that it's built to go in and just update the stats on it. So because I want more at my fingertips than the online system gives me. It doesn't give me everything I need, right? Because it never can. It can't give us everything. So I want a link now. So I'm going to show you, I want to insert a link to this cell. All I'm going to do is I'm going to type Tanya, and the file that I made for her is right here. And I can attach it and hit apply. And now every time I open this document, I can just click on her thing as soon as it finishes loading with my lovely Wi-Fi. I can just click on that and go right to her file and start typing my notes in her file that I've made for her. Because we can't type notes in consultants yet on the ordering system. I'm sure that's coming at some point. You know, and though, until it does, I want to be able to track stuff. So this is all of the questions basically from our new consultant interview. So when I have her new consultant interview, I type all her crap here, and I know all the fabulous things I need to know about her. And then when I'm doing training with her, I can make notes here. But I know from my tick list that where I've got everything, and then I've got this to work with for her details. Okay, I've got a question. Well, I'm glad I'm blowing you away, right? It's amazing what you can do and have everything so organized. I have a second slide that I haven't quite finished yet. For anybody that's in my top 20%, then I have a slide that sort of like the details I want to know about my top 20, because I don't need to know everything about everybody once they're out of their first 90, but when they're not in my top 20, I do want to know everything about everybody. So I would just add a second slide with more details. So that's how those work. And it's really, as you saw, that linking was like ridiculously easy to do, which I absolutely love. But I want to show you how easy it is to link to anything. So this is why, oh my gosh, I can't move you guys again. I don't know why I'm so incompetent with moving this little box around. I really am all the time. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Can't see anything. You know, how do you get that thing at the top of the screen to go away? Go away. You know, you guys know what I'm talking about? The little drop down from Zoom, and it's in my way. I can't see what I want to see. Okay, I think Dana said to me last time, drag it to the side. Okay, now it's just in the middle of my screen, but it's gone. Okay, so if I want to link to something, like seriously, I was filling out a form. So I got a PDF. Here's the cool thing about Docs. You can get a PDF from anybody and open it in Google Docs and you can edit it.
Oh.
Boom. So now when we get our season 1 material and it's not in an editable format, yes it is. Okay, so that's the benefit of that. I love how I tell my daughter I'm doing a training and not to bug me, and my phone rings. And she had to call it twice because I have it on Do Not Disturb. She's 17. Love her to death. Okay, so when I wanted, so I had to fill out a form for my insurance agency, and they needed to know all of my social media. Somehow my property insurance needs to know my social media handles. So in that box, I went to Insert. Oh my gosh, this is broken. So I went into Insert. I'm not used to working on this tiny screen. I usually work on my big screen, but then my camera's not in the right place, so you guys see this out of my head. Okay, so I went to, it's going to bring up everything on the web with that. So I went to Dana K's, I just typed in the name of my Facebook thing. There it is. Boom. Apply. So in theory now Ashley's going to my Facebook page, which she doesn't need to, but that's how easy it is to link to anything on the internet as well. So you can add your handles and all of your stuff super easy peasy. So that, you know, anything that saves me a dozen keystrokes, because normally I have to go to Facebook, log in, travel to my business page, get the thing from the top and link it. I'm done. And like half the time before I even log into Facebook, I'm done. Right? So that's where you're really getting the beauty of using this sort of thing. And I think our timing is going to end soon. So you saw slides, which is what I had for the consultant thing, you know, where I was keeping my consultants organized. That's on a slide because a Word doc isn't pretty enough for me, and I need pretty. And I know that if it's not decent looking and pretty, I'm not going to use it, frankly. Right? So I know enough about myself to operate in how I work. What the different colors on here means, basically I did that for my assistant. Things that are orange are things she can complete. Things that are purple are things only I can complete, and things that are black either of us can complete. So that we all know whose job is whose and there's no confusion of who's supposed to be doing what. So, you know,
what are all your topics across the top there? Sorry,
which are my who?
Your topics across the top.
Oh, so this is like, well, this whole block is about her 30 days. So I don't know what you can see on your end, but like this is her end date and this is how many she has booked. So there's no real data in these people because I hid my real people down. I added some the columns in between so I'm not giving away personal information. So this is what I'd be filling in, right? So when I've done her congrats, I would put the date that I congratulated her. When I put a small gift in the mail, whether that's some, you know, some note cards or whatever that is, I put the date that we mailed it. And so I think you might have missed the beginning of this part, Leslie. There's all sorts of, I track all the stuff that I do with new consultants and all of their training on this so that I can at a glance see where everybody's at and what I haven't missed. Because I found that I had multiple files for people and I missed stuff. I was sure, and they'd be like, well, I haven't heard anything about that. And I'm like, oh, shoot. So I really need a lot of details in order to be organized. So the sharing of the docs for planning product launches, you know, it's going to change, I think can change everything for us, especially with a lot of stuff that we do. Planning stuff at conference, right? Like I can't wait for Tara to start using the Google Docs because she uses this system and we've never used them for conference. I'm like so excited now that we can use this for our planning and save so much time. So pumped. So that's basically Google Docs in a heartbeat. There are so many things that you can do. That's just the tip of the iceberg. And there's so many apps made to function with Google. So if you type something all the time, there's like, you know, you can like program, you know, Alt-Z to type that thing that you type all the time and put it all on the screen for you, right? So there's all sorts of things you can do, and I don't have the time to train you on all that. I just wanted to give you an idea of what's there. If anybody wants more knowledge on a particular subject or part of Google Docs, I'll be happy to do a video or whatever, but this gives you an overview to start thinking. And as you start building, if you're using a Google Calendar, so you start building your calendar to think like a Googler does, right? Rather than one calendar and assigning everything a different color, you make different calendars and assign the calendars the colors so that you get the sharing effectiveness out of your calendars, things like that. So I think this thing's probably going to end any second. Does anybody, let's go with questions before they boot us off of here. Okay, you're very welcome, Sandy. Hopefully you guys have all got something new that you can apply out of this. If you didn't see Sandy Williams and I typing in the document together, make sure to watch the beginning of this so you can see that, because that's where the real magic of Google Docs lies, is in that calendar. You are welcome, everyone. Have some fun exploring. You know, there's tons of great videos on the internet, but that'll give you a start as to what you can do in Google Docs. Yeah, I would. Well, Google Suite is a paid email service and Google service that has extra features like auto booking in your calendar and having an email address that doesn't end in Gmail or Hotmail or whatever. So if you want Google Suite, there's a fee, but you can do a basic, all this stuff as a basic level you can do with a regular Gmail without paying. The only thing you can't do is auto book people, and I don't think it automatically adds stuff to your calendar. So the other thing that my Gmail does is it automatically, like if I book a flight, it automatically adds my flight to my calendar. And cool
so
stuff.
if we have an email address already, could you use the same email address in there?
Yeah, you can use any email. Like if you got an address that's like PaulineKirchhoff@hotmail.com, you could use it in your G Suite if you had a G Suite.
So if, because mine is kirchhoff@easylink.ca. So
yeah, if you don't want to change it, you could import that over to Gmail, or you could just, you could totally import that over to a G Suite. If you wanted to pay for a G Suite, you could